Thanks, Lee. And we have an exclusive interview with freshman Senator Nellie O'Reilly. News Channel 8's Wes Small has a two-part report, and we're bringing you part one tonight.
All right. Well, we have interviewed Senator Wayne James. We've also interviewed Senator Samuel Sanis and another rookie senator, the beautiful Nellie O'Reilly. And I have to tell you, you are beautiful, Senator.
Oh, thank you.
You're so much welcome. All right. You're on 4 committees.
Yes, sir.
And we haven't had a chance to get you on News Channel 8 since you were running for the election. I know you hit the ground running. There's so much we want to get into. First of all, let's let people know the 4 committees that you're involved with.
Sure. I am in the Committee on Education, Youth and Culture, also in the Committee on Labor and Agriculture, Economic Development, Technology and Energy, and finally in Financial Services, Infrastructure and Consumer Protection.
What do you think about the crime in the Virgin Islands right now?
Well, you know, let us not forget also that I think it was last night or yesterday that a resident from St. Croix was burglarized while he was sleeping in his house. So I think it runs the gamut, not just, murders and killing, burglaries, vandalism, as you can well see from what happened in St. Thomas with individuals that vandalized some of the housing, park, and recreation facilities. I think crime is on the rise, but I think we really need to look at the human side of this. Why is it that crime is on the rise? We cannot pretend that we are taking care of other areas when we're not. For example, and I always said this, education will eradicate crime and will eradicate poverty. And we need to really focus on education.
All right, let's move then to employment. Since we're talking about labor, you're also on the Labor Commission. And Hovenza, since I've been doing journalism and on radio in the old days even, I've always gotten complaints that, Wes, they're hiring from the outside. They're hiring from the outside. I don't want to pick on certain contractors because just a couple come to my head, but it's like they're all guilty, and it's almost a catch-22. They say that a lot of locals can't pass the drug test. They're not educated enough. They don't want to do the work, so we have to get it from the outside. And you don't agree with that, or what do you think? Are you happy with Hovenza's hiring practices right now?
Well, I tell you what, you touched on it just now. You said that one of the reasons or excuses that these entities give is that our populace is not educated enough. We do not have the workforce with the skills required, and so that goes back to education. Like I said earlier, education is the key. You can eradicate crime and poverty if you focus on education. Clearly, there are some issues with hiring practices within some of the private corporations, and I'll tell you, I have spoken against these practices in the past. Last week, as a matter of fact, when we had a hearing on the Committee on Labor and Education, the commissioner at the Department of Labor was before the committee, and we asked the same question, and he said, because he does have the authority, the statute gives him the authority to investigate and to inspect payroll records, and his response when I asked him, when was the last time you inspected the Hovenza refinery payroll records and hiring practices, and he said, just recently in February, I requested information and I'm waiting for the information. And I immediately said, well, you can't just request and expect that they're going to provide you information. I like to see the Department of Labor actually go physically into these offices and look at these books and determine whether or not these entities are engaging in illegal hiring practices. But we also need to be very honest with ourselves. When we are so quick, and I take responsibility for this, we are so quick to blame corporations and EDC beneficiaries for engaging in what we consider to be unfair, labor practices or hiring practices, importing workers instead of hiring locally. But are we doing enough to build the skill set of our local workforce to make sure that they can reach out and hire locally? I looked for a job before I became a senator within some of these EDC beneficiaries, and I wasn't hired. And I think that if the people of St. Croix considered me qualified to head this, to be a senator, that I clearly had the skills to fit these jobs. But I was also overlooked because some of them do hire from away and import their workers. But let's ask a more important question. Isn't that the same thing government does? Doesn't government hire because someone supported another person or because they're related to someone else, instead of hiring people who really can do the job, who have the skills and the expertise to do the job? So we can't cast aspersions, and we can't throw stones if we live in a glass house ourselves.
Man, you hit it right on the head. That's for sure. Just because someone makes chicken Johnny cakes and do T-shirts for you doesn't mean they can head a department. You are absolutely right on with that one. I'd like to end this first part. I knew this would be a two-parter, and we're going to come back tomorrow with Senator Nellie O'Reilly with part two, and we're going to start with consumer and about the high cost of food and work our way. Yeah, I knew this would be a good one. Exclusive interview with Senator O'Reilly continues tomorrow. I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
And that was part one of our exclusive report with Nellie O'Reilly, and we will have a second part tomorrow. In the meantime, there is a pistachio alert. We'll bring you more news on that after the break.